Welcome to another episode of the iOS Cafe. My name is Ravi, and in today's session, we will be exploring one of the misleading practices of SwiftUI. Now, why is it called misleading? We will understand that in few minutes. The practice states that we should be creating a ViewModel class inside the View extension. So if you're an iOS developer, you might be familiar with the mvvm architecture. Now, I'm not going to explain the mvvm architecture in this session because that is not the scope of this video. But in general, what happens in the mvvm architecture is the view will request some data from the view model. The view model will do some processing and will return the requested data back to the view. And what we usually do is we create a separate class of the view model so that we can independently write test cases against the view model. But according to this approach, what you should be doing is you should be creating a view model class inside the view extension. And if you do this, there are drawbacks. So let's explore the drawbacks by switching to Xcode. So in the canvas, you can see that I have a list, and in the list, I am displaying some of the Apple products. Over here, we can see that we have a product view model. The product view model is having a dependency of the product service. And just for the demonstration purpose, I am directly creating the instance of the product service. Usually this should be done either by a factory, and the factory should return a protocol and not a concrete implementation. And here we have the body, which is having a list, and on appear, we are using the product view model to get the products. We have this content view extension where we have created the product view model. This code perfectly works. So why is it a misleading practice? Now, first of all, let us understand something. Even the worst code that you write will definitely work and will produce the output that you need. And the compiler doesn't really care about how you're writing the code as long as you are syntactically right. We write code for humans, and the aim of a software developer should be to write maintainable and testable code. And if you follow this approach, we are losing testability and reusability. Because right now this product view model is a part of the content view. It is encapsulated inside the content view. And since it is encapsulated inside this content view, we cannot independently test the product view model. Well, actually you can, but to test the product view model, you first have to create the instance of content view. Let me show you that. So over here we have the product view model test. So let us create the product view model instance. Let me try to access product view model first. The Swift compiler has given us an error, cannot find type product view model in scope. And that is because this product view model is inside this content view. So in order to access the product view model, what you have to do is create the instance of the content view, and then you have to access the product view model. So now we have got a different error. Let's see what that is. Product view model is inaccessible due to the private protection level. Let's see. So here I have the content view. So the product view model over here is marked as private. So now to access the product view model, I have to delete this just so that I can write test cases against the product view model. And now the Swift compiler is happy. But just to write test case for the product view model, I changed something inside my main code, which should not actually be the case. Now this is a classic example where your test cases are screaming about a tight coupling between the view and the view model. This also proves one thing, that the product view model is not an independent testable component. We have to rely on the instance of the content view to access the product view model. And we are seeing this compile error message because I think over here, the product view model is private. So if you want to really test the product view model, you have to delete this private keyword. And again, this is not a good idea because just to test something, you are changing your main code. If you look at the test cases, over here what we are doing is we are creating the object of the content view. And inside a SwiftUI view, we will have states, bindings, and all the other properties. And it may happen that the developer who ends up maintaining this project may write test cases to check those states and bindings inside this unit test. Now there is a reason why the unit test and the UI test are created separately. So with this approach, I can see the UI test getting mixed up with the unit test. One more drawback about this approach is, now let's say we have a child content view. Now let's suppose this child content view is a part of the content view, and we have to pass the product view model inside the child content view. So over here, what we are going to do is we are going to use init. The Swift compiler has given us an error, cannot find type product view model in scope. And that's because the product view model is encapsulated inside the content view. So across your application, only the content view knows about the product view model. So this approach also impacts reusability to some extent. So my suggestions over here is, rather than creating the product view model inside some view extension, create them as a separate class, just like how we created them in the UI kit applications. so that they are reusable and testable components. So that will be all for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, then please subscribe and share this video with your iOS group. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Have a nice day and happy iCoding. Bye-bye.